When I first met my client Chin, he had never cold approached a woman in his life. But 3 hours into our first session, he got an instant date. But here's the crazy part. She asked him out.
What are you doing right now?
I'm just about.
I'm on my way to go get a drink. Do you want to join me?
Yeah, of course.
And that moment cracked something open. He literally sat down mid-session and said, "Bro, can you give me 10 minutes? I need to download everything you just said." Then he locked in and started vibing like he'd been doing this for years. Since then, Chin's not just changed how he connects with women, he's leveled up how he moves through the world. More confidence, more clarity, more flow. We actually captured all the approaches from the very first day. The full video is up on the channel if you want to see receipts. This is the real story. The mindset shifts, the inner breakthroughs, the transformation behind the moments. If you've been playing small, stuck in your head, or holding back from who you really are, and you know it's time to rise, apply for exclusive coaching with Papa Club using the link in the description below. All right, let's get into it. All right, and we are live. Chin, how's the vibe today?
Yes, good morning. I'm good. How are you, bro?
I'm doing well, sir. Super good to vibe with you again. All right, so let's get straight into it. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Steven. I help high performers, high achievers, and leaders like Chin create their dream relationships and lifestyles through bespoke coaching. And this is Chin. He's one of my favorite clients that I've had the pleasure to work with. And yeah, we've been working together for just over a month. We met in the summer and we went on a pretty crazy journey. And yeah, I'm just gonna like let him kind of do talking and then just kind of tell us more about like what's actually really transpired as a result of our, playing time together. So Chin, can you start by introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about your background?
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm Chin. I'm 25. Background. I mean, I guess I just work as a rail engineer. I left uni because I didn't want to do things the traditional way. If I could sum myself up quickly, I mean, I'm trying to do things in a way that is, different to myself and not the same as 99% of people out there. Because I think there is more to life than just that. The bullet intro for me. Yeah.
Amazing. Nice one. And before we started working together, how are you feeling about your love life, like dating, relationships, and to a certain extent, your life as well?
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's get specific then. I guess love life. I was okay. It wasn't like a massive deal, but I knew as in with a lot of things in my life, I know there's always room for improvement. I mean, I guess we can touch on how we even met. I mean,
Yeah.
I ended up at a meetup, not even because I wanted to go. I had a friend or two friends who wanted to go, and they just wanted a body to go with them. So I said, I'll just come in and have a bit of fun. Walked around, told everyone to split up and do their thing. Said if they needed help, they could come to me. And then I walked around. I saw Stephen had a nice shirt on, and I made conversation of that. And yeah, from there we got talking. I found out what he did, asked him a lot of questions about, what he did and why he thought he was good at, and I guess the best of what he does. And yeah, I thought it couldn't be difficult to just, have a phone call or talk about, my situation.
Hmm.
And yeah, where I could go and improve from there. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, it's funny. It's like talking about it because you actually said hi to me. You opened me, right? And yeah, I remember when we started talking, I just really liked the way you're someone who's just like really, really into getting to know someone on a deeper level. And then
Hmm.
I had never really come across anyone like you who's kind of shown that type of desire
Hmm.
and in wanting to get to know that person on a deeper level in a very smooth way, right? So yeah, that's the context. So let's get a little bit specific. Like, yeah, what kind of problems and challenges were you facing in your dating life or love life relationships? What was it exactly that you were kind of experiencing in terms of your pain points?
Okay. Well, for context, I've had one relationship in my life that was during sixth form, like my last year of school. Other than that, I've been able to have my fun. I mean, I went to uni. I was the popular guy while I was there anyway. I had a bunch of fun. But, being there and even like after that, I thought there has to be more to this. Like I got bored of just seeing the next person, the next person, the next person. So yeah, that was, I guess, where it started. Of course, as you grow up, you're not the same as you are as a kid where you just sort of do stuff and you're natural with it and you're not thinking about what's going on or what the consequences are of that. I started looking, for something, more meaningful and more deep. But that's, of course, not the easiest thing to do, I think, for anyone. I mean, anyone that has it, you could call them lucky. They have to work for it. But, in the way things are today, it can be pretty difficult. In my case, I was getting to the point where, I could meet someone, it was all cool, but like continuing on from there was kind of difficult. I mean, I know a lot more now about why, not even just from you, but from doing my own learning and research. It only takes one right person. But I think I heard something yesterday. You can't say enough wrong things to the right person, but it doesn't take much to say much to like the wrong person, if that makes sense.
Mm,
Yeah.
got it. So basically, it was more like you wanted to go deep with someone,
Yeah.
like really, really deep, but then like you really hadn't experienced something like that before. So you're like, okay, like, like it'd be nice to kind of like learn more about how to kind of get to the next level. Right. Is that fair? It's interesting because like if I just kind of like putting the hat on of someone who doesn't really know about anything like this, it's like I would only my perception is that like I would only work with someone or even think about or even get the idea of working with someone in terms of coaching if I was experiencing something really, really severe, like, oh, like I can't, it's really hard for me to, approach women. It's really hard for me to, it's really nerve wracking, for example. Like, I feel like there's a lot of things that block me, stop me. It sounds like for you, it was just like you were pretty smooth anyway. So, like, yeah, why did you decide to work with me? What made you really decide to commit?
Couple reasons really. I mean, from the long talk we had, it was a pretty long talk on the initial day I met you. Again, I look for people who are like myself that I can, vibe with and talk with, which is why initially I agreed. I was like, okay, let's have a separate call and talk about this another time. Of course, I had my own pain points and stuff. And also, I'd say the third reason was, again, like I'm looking for things to learn to also give back at a later point as well. So, one day, at least as a little piece of what I do as I, develop, being able to do what you do for others as well, which
Mm,
I've had a little bit of experience trying to help people with that too.
mm.
So yeah, those are, I guess, the three main reasons.
Appreciate that. No, it's,
Yeah.
it's funny actually because when I think about like just like what I do for a living and
Yeah.
like when I tell people what I do like for a living and all that stuff, it's like people find it very interesting because like it's really hard to come across people like me, I guess,
Yeah.
right? And just like this industry is like super not necessarily new, but now more and more people are kind of like curious about it. Just the idea of like getting help,
Yeah.
and actually hiring someone to kind of get to the next level of their life, whether it be, their relationships, dating, love, whatever. But when you think about it, actually, a lot of the time, like the top performers in the world, whether it be athletes or business
Mhm.
people in entertainment, but whatever, they all have something in common, which is they work with someone. We spoke about the idea of having your own board of directors, right? Like
Yeah.
all these people, they have that, right? When I think about all my top clients who've like absolutely crushed it and then like, they want to continue to level up, right? The reason why we started working together wasn't necessarily that they were experiencing a very severe pain point. It's
Mm.
that it's almost like on the surface of everything is fine, but then when you actually go deeper, we all have problems, we all have areas that we want to sort of develop in.
Mhm.
And, all of you, including you, have acknowledged that you got this set of problems and you would actually rather, you're someone that actually invests in your development. You're someone that actually bets on yourself, right? And that's why said yes to this opportunity. And then, the transformation happens. So that's super fascinating. So thanks for going deep on that. So now that we've worked together for, let's say, just a little over a month, how do you feel now about your situation and where you're at?
Well, I'm great. I mean, when you were here, mostly, of course, we had the chance to, I guess, work in person. As far as I know, still, you don't get that opportunity much. So it was a really good thing. I think a lot of why I did it as well was because I actually got to do that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I mentioned not necessarily directly for what you do, but for other things, like, say, looking for community and people that want to improve.
Mm,
I did manage to find some stuff of my own, but it didn't feel close or I didn't feel like I could connect properly because I can actually meet these people. I mean, I could do a lot more, and there's always much more you can do, right? I mean, I
mm,
could find people within there because, it's online, it's global.
mm,
You could find someone you could, travel to meet, speak to, like guys like you can improve with. But I thought, it's better to just, do it with someone I can speak with and actually get direct feedback for.
Basically, the main question, brother, is just really getting at your transformation. So like
Yeah.
you were before we started working together, you were here, right?
Yes.
And then we worked together, and then like, how did your just if I never met you, like
Yeah.
just help me through your transformation.
Okay. When you say transformation, I think to like the first session we had
Yeah.
where, you know, he said, okay, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna throw you straight into the deep end. You're gonna go speak to people. I thought, okay, fine. It's not necessarily a problem for me. I
Yeah.
don't mind getting up and going to do something. I have history acting. I speak in front of people sometimes. So I was told to do it. I did it, but it was still an eye opener from that point because, I got my
Mm.
feedback and, we laugh about this. The very first day, like I literally had a moment where I had to just sit because I was told, okay, you need to improve at this. And I was like, oh, how do I do this? And I literally sat and I had to download everything you said. And I literally stopped. I was like, you're going to have to give me 10 minutes to sit down and just really process what you said. And then I said, okay, I'm ready. We go again. We go. And then that's how we got to the very first day. But I'll let you lead up to where you want to go before we get to
Mm.
how we get there. I mean, transformation, like, yeah, I feel strong knowing that, okay, wherever I am, I know that if it's something I want to look at, I know I have a bit of a strategy and a game plan. It's very easy to go through life without one. I mean, again, nobody writes the rules to life, right? But knowing that you have some sort of information to fall back on and improve yourself on is also really important. It's not just about what you do wrong, it's about what you do good as well. So I knew, okay, this is what I do good. I can improve on this. What am I not so good at? I can improve on that too, which is great. Wherever I go, it's not a problem really. I mean, that's, I guess, allowed me to relax a little bit. I can put that to the back of my head and focus on other things that are pressing right now.
Mm.
So yeah, it's changed not just my mind in like that, dating and relationship side, but like again, like in life, in, preparing myself for business, getting me a new job. I learned recently, loads of concepts, they're microcosms of others.
Mm.
So if you choose to spend your time improving something like this, like you said, is pretty niche, pretty taboo, that no one likes to speak about, you'll find that it's very similar in application to a lot of things if you go and look for it. So yeah, it's improved me in multiple places as well, which is great.
Very
Yeah.
smart, very smart, Chin. You're one of the smartest, if not the smartest, clients that I've had the pleasure to work with because of like how fast your transformation really like happened. Because I just to be a little bit more direct. So basically with Chin, what we did was really going out to the streets and then getting him to approach, like cold approach women, right? During the day, sober, obviously, and saying hi and then really give value, right? And
Hmm.
then when I say give value, that's where the kind of like the crux of the matter is at,
Yep.
right? Because a lot of the time when I say if you don't know anything, it's like, okay, go say hi to them and then, like build a vibe with them, right? It's a bit vague. And a lot of the time you're like, okay, you just go there, you just ask like, a series of questions, like taking value from them, taking something from them. What do you do? What do you do for work? Where do you live? Just like a question after question after question. And then a lot of the time, like, from the perspective of someone that just got approached, they don't know you. So it's like,
Yes.
okay, like why? What's going on? And then I give you a couple of pointers. Okay, this is how you add value. This is how you actually go deep. This is how you build emotional connection. This is how you make them feel seen, heard, and understood. And then I just remember just like, yeah, there's a video about it as well where it just like a lot of people think that it's staged, by the way, because just
Really?
like, yeah. I mean, you see like some of these comments now, like even to this day, like on my Instagram, like people comment on it, they're like,
Yeah.
this is stage, right? Number one, and it's just like, man, I can also understand how like a lot of the time, like just like you only see what you see, right?
Yes.
Your frame is your frame, and we've been speaking a lot about like your frame because that really dictates like how you navigate the world as well. This happens to be one of the most fundamental things that we ended up addressing. But I really personally really enjoyed just working with you on that specific vibe, mainly because like you just like after we had that, you told me, okay, let me download. I got you to approach a couple more girls, and you were just like hooking one after another. And then I taught you how to actually go on an instant date, which is yeah, just like the idea of, okay, you just like go approach, say hi to someone new, and then, you develop the vibe. And then if the vibe develops, you essentially ask them to go have a quick coffee or tea with them. So you kind of like develop that vibe with them. And then the funny thing was that you didn't even have to ask. The girl just asked you right away.
Nope. which is why they
Mm.
think it's staged.
Tell me about that actually. Now, like now that I mean, it's been when we were speaking about that, you're on that emotional high. Obviously, like what happened after the day after as well. Like you guys kept on seeing each other, and that was magical.
Yeah.
But now that you kind of reflect on that experience, number one, download everything that I've taught you so rapidly, and the number two, really manifest all of that into like so rapidly. You know, like that.
Mhm. I guess it's down to me and like my own experiences. I mean, I think I've come from a place where I've not felt good enough in a lot of cases, which
Mm,
has led me to just seek information on how to be better. So
mm,
I think that has made me a sponge for information. No matter what it is, I just want to know in order to be
mm,
better, which is why I think I was able to take it and do it so quick. And it also comes a lot from not having to the fear to try that thing.
mm,
Again, another thing I've learned recently is like a lot of people get fear and they get stage fright because they're literally in their head, they're comparing a lot of these things to like a literal threat as if like a lion is outside.
mm,
But if you can just separate yourself from that and say, whatever's in front of me is not a lion, it's not going to eat me, I'm not going to die here. Or you can just erase a lot of this stuff and you can just go and act on it. Because again, why not? Well, the worst that can happen is like you do nothing. You completely lose at that point. So it's for me anyway, it's better you just go and do it and try it. I mean, at least you stand on the two legs that you did it and tried it. You know, a
mm.
lot of people won't get that far, and it's what holds them back in the first place, which is not even step one, step zero in cases.
Got it. Amazing. Nice one. Any blind spots during our coaching that you're able to uncover?
Yep, of course, the very first one, the very first day, I ended up speaking to a lot of these ladies as, as if like it was between me and you or me and my friends. I treat everyone the same. I mean, that's how I was raised to treat everybody equally.
Yeah.
But growing up, I learned that if you want specific things from specific people, you have to treat them in a certain way.
Mm,
So in this case, we know what we're looking for in this case. So I couldn't do that. I couldn't just speak to people. And, the first bit of feedback I got was when you speak, you jump from topic to topic to topic to topic. It's like a little bit ADHD. But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
again, this is what guys are good at doing because
Yeah.
that's how conversation flows. We don't think about all this madness. So doing that, that was the hardest thing I mean, it was the
Mm.
first thing to let go of. I was like, something that's literally me. So yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was just to find one thing, go on as deep as possible with it, and go from there. Not to ask too many questions, just to mix
Mm.
questions with
Yeah.
statements and guesses. Yeah,
Super smart that you still remember that part.
of
Yeah.
course.
And it's funny enough that actually like it comes back again and again because like when I work with these men, because like that's how we talk, as you said,
Yeah.
like we kind of like you talk about something and then like my maybe like instead of like being really focused on this conversation and like keep on doing this, I'll be like I would think of something completely like random and then we go there. It's fun, but then it's like really scattered. We're not exactly like building our emotional connection that way, but and this is kind of like how guys bond a lot of the time. But when it comes to like communication in romantic context, like
Yeah.
it's a little bit different because it's about like building that deep emotional connection where you first, make the other person in front of you
Hmm.
feel so seen and heard. So get inside their world. And
Yeah.
how do you do that? Well, like you go deep, talk about why, move from not only talking about the present, but like, just really dig into their past
Mm.
and dig into their future, bridge the gap,
Hmm.
and then like lead them in a direction where it's like, okay, like this is kind of where I've taken you. And then once you've achieved this level of depth and playfulness, and they're like, wow, like I've never experienced this before, like I would repeat it again and again. And that's why I think you've got that concept very, 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 very rapidly. Nice one.
Thank you.
Very, very cool. Now, where do you see yourself like a year from now, as a result of our work together, you think?
Yeah. Well, I mean, from where I'm at now and that, the opportunities that are coming up for me at the moment, I'm probably going to be like deep into those things. So it's going to, first of all, put me in a load of different situations. It won't just
Mm,
be from a standpoint of, hey, I'm at home, I go to work, I go to this or that event, and then I come home. Because then I would be in the case where I'd actively have to go out or I'd actively have to think, intentionally about where I'm going in order to
mm,
meet the right person. And cool, that works. It'll be very different now with where I'm headed, not just from what I've learned from you, but from where I'm developing myself as well.
mm,
So I know that in those situations, I'm going to have a much better pool, a much higher quality to work with. So at that point, I know that I stand out even more because I think of it in levels. At this, I guess, sort of surface level, you could have all the right things, but people aren't wired the right way. So in a lot of cases, these are going to be the wrong people anyway.
Mm,
Now I start to move up into levels where these are the better people that are going to, I guess, respond a bit better, and I probably will have much better results with. Not that I don't get results, like honestly, like anecdote. A couple weeks ago, one of my friends wanted me to come out. He said, "Oh, I want to do some night game."
mm,
So I went out, did some night game with him.
yeah,
I got him some, I got some. I was like, well, I know what I'm doing. But again, I know what I want now. This isn't what I want. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm chilling now.
yeah.
You've done your thing,
Mm,
but now I need to get to where I want to go in order to have the right pool to select from. So a year from now, should be eating pretty good
mm.
in the sense of my own food. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I mean, what you're speaking about right now, brother, is really just this concept of qualification for magic, really, you know? And we've been speaking a lot about this concept, like in the context of, man to woman dynamics, right? But then here you're talking about is like, okay, even opportunities of what you want out of life and everything. Well, like if you know exactly what you're going for, if you know your vision, then you qualify people. And yeah, like frankly, you meet a lot of people, including men, women, right? And let's say your goal is to not create like a long-term relationship with someone, then like, because you come from this perspective where, okay, like I know what I'm looking for actually, what kind of characteristics, what kind of vibe I'm qualifying for.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, because you've done a lot of self-development in terms of getting a lot of attention and getting a lot of interest, and you might get a lot, but then actually like do all of them qualify? Do all of them actually deserve your time, attention, energy,
Hmm.
and all of that stuff? No, you know? So yeah, it's like it's about, qualifying them. So yeah, you're touching on very, very important points, bro. Love that. Now I'm feeling a little bit scattered. Going back to the coaching a little bit, we spoke about blind spot and stuff like that. So any moment or anything that we've done a lot of stuff like there's some one-on-ones, groups, and everything. Any specific moment or any parts of our session that you found most valuable or particularly transformative for you?
I'll mention one thing. I think there's been cases. Okay, let's talk from an anecdotal point of view. So there was a point where we went out. I think I can't remember where it was, but like there was a load of deck chairs outside, and there was a lady reading a book.
Oh,
You remember that
I
day?
remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Where okay, so in effect, to explain to everyone, I've obviously highlighted okay, I'm gonna go. Spoken to her, everything's all good, connecting over what she's reading and what she's doing. You think everything's going so good, and then they spring something on you, and she was like, "Oh, I'm going on a date right now." I'd learned already. Okay, cool. Even if they're doing whatever that is, still go through with it anyway because you might open a door somewhere, you might make them realize, okay, is what's standing in front of me a really good opportunity? Or am I really locked in on what I have right now? So I went and went and went and went and went. I was like, okay, cool. I'm doing this. The next hurdle comes up that you're not even expecting. The guy walked past her because obviously I think he's seen that I'm speaking to her. And she was like, oh, sorry, I can't do this now. And I gotta go. And then I was like, okay, I'll just leave her. Because again, I'm from a standpoint where I don't want to force people. And I've had experiences in the past where I've been blamed for things that I've not done. I know how that is. It can be very dangerous today, especially when you're speaking to women. So I was like, I'm going to back out. But obviously, this is not a case where I did anything wrong. But had I known in that case, like, even if you get to that point, you can still keep going. You can still leave them, a door open and say, look, like, if you want to speak to me, like, here, or, keep pressing. Yeah,
Exactly.
because again, I think that, like you've explained, it brings a lot more power to you in the case. Because everybody's usually looking for the way out. They're not usually looking for the way in. Because opportunities are everywhere. So if they're there, a lot of people would be exactly where they want to be. But where they're disqualifying themselves, so in a case you want to keep going, of course, it doesn't mean you're always going to get it, but not only do they get a chance, it also helped me in the case. And I know that, you know, I don't have to stop at round one or two or three or four, even five. Like in January and anything, I can keep going and keep going and keep going. And, something along the way will open itself up. And
Mm.
it's not lucky at that point. It's because I worked for it.
I love that. I remember that moment very, very clearly. And I remember telling you that, like, yeah, you've done a very good job as you're telling me the story. I'm like, and then at the very last moment, that hurdle came up. And basically, like, I think of it as like, okay, that's even more of an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Because, right, you could be like, okay, 2 seconds, right?
Hmm.
And then you could have like kind of kept on going, right? It's like, hey, like slow down things a bit, right? And then be like, hey, essentially give them an opportunity. And this is a really important point, right? Because a lot of the time, a lot of guys actually, they don't really see themselves as someone who can actually be a gift to someone's world. This is really important because that's the frame, you know? And as long as it's like, now I'm wearing these glasses, but then like, for example, I was actually like, I'm in Dubai right now. I was wearing these like a fun, heart shaped, like pink glasses, right? And then I was like wearing them, and I was like, wow, like everything looks like a video game, because like that's like the
Yeah.
world I see. But then actually, funny enough, because that's the world I see, because that's my frame, my vibe becomes different. And it
Yeah.
also affects the way people see me, the world sees me as well. There's like an interplay there, right?
Yeah.
So why am I talking about this? Well, this is how you see the world. If you actually genuinely believe that when you go into an interaction with someone, when you have a conversation with someone, you genuinely believe that your presence, your energy, your vibration are a gift to someone's world, then they're going to see it that way as well. Right. So in this situation, well, you don't know what that situation is like. I'm not saying like, hey, disrespect them. Obviously, like, you got to respect, their situation, whatever. But then give them an opportunity rather than you feeling like, oh, I'm bothering them. Well, you haven't bothered them, right? Until this moment, she's been enjoying your company,
Yeah.
right? And that's fact. I saw that you were experiencing that. So then, well, like given an opportunity, and then it's up to her to say yes or no, right? So yeah, I remember that moment. Super, super fun, nice one. Personally, I've got so many like favorite moments of mine. Obviously, like the multiple instant dates that you've experienced as well.
Yep.
But like the funny thing was just like us going to Five Guys, sharing like food and like you that was fun. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was fun. And yeah, you just for me my favorite moment is just like when I showed you when I demoed the whole thing, the approach thing, and you're like, it's just like against the wall. You're like, Steven, give me like give me a few minutes. I need to let me download. And I was serious. Oh yeah, I was serious. But then I could see like it's almost like a movie moment, right? Just like everything going on is like computation. And
Yep.
then you're locked in and it's like boom,
Yep.
boom, 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 boom. That was amazing. Super fun. Now, final question.
Yeah.
Would you recommend my coaching to others and why?
I hate that you even have to ask that. I mean, if you've listened to this point, I don't even have to say too much. Of course, the answer is yes. Like I'm gonna be brutally honest. Like people watching this, right? It is taboo, like I said. People hate talking about it. Even when I talk to others about it, they tell me, like, they ask, what it took for me to go and do this. And they're like, whoa, really? And they're shocked that even me, like I've done it. Like people
Mm,
see me and they instantly see something about me. Again, it's not like I'm struggling as a person that
mm,
much. If you look at why they look at me in that case, it's because of stuff like this. It's
mm,
because I'm willing to put my time into something like this. That again, we say taboo and niche, but you also have to relate it to the point that this is, I mean, oxygen is really important. Let's put it up there with oxygen. Um, you know, I feel like a guy, whether they like it or not, they need it every day. They might tell you they don't. Again, you're a man. You have things going on. You're hormonal. Like, I mean, whatever you believe, we're here to recreate. We're here to continue a legacy and keep going. You know, if you don't deal with this now, you're going to be dealing at a point where you don't know if you're going to be as secure as you are today. Even if you're in a better standpoint, you could go, what, 5, 10 years without having learned anything. And it isn't just that, it's like people skills as well that you're missing out on. You get to that point, and a lot of people get to that point, they end up rich, successful, but not in this area, specifically because they've let themselves go. And then they start to lose everything trying to claw their way to find it back. They don't find people such as yourself, or they're not as like tuned in as me to go and look for things, even if I can't find that. Yeah, it's better to just do it now as you go along. I mean, like I said, my priorities have changed at the moment, but I know that at any time I can just switch this on. Even now, well, paired with like my own self-development, that's really important as well. Know why you're doing whatever you're doing. Those combined, I'm more comfortable speaking to anyone because I have a clear direction of where I'm going now. And
mm,
I'm speaking to you to know, are you ongoing where I'm going? And very quickly now you can see if they are, if they aren't.
mm,
Cool, I'm still in a place where I still want to give a lot to people. I still want to give people more chances than they probably deserve, but
mm,
that's just because I have the time for it. It's put me in a strong standpoint. People asking me all the time for advice, which is great. I mean, it makes me feel important. I mean, maybe you say that's egotistical, but hey, it's nice because I can still give value to them, not just these
Mm,
ladies, but to other people in my life. Like,
mm.
gonna be able to give way more. And again, learning this and like continuing to do stuff with you and like learn from you, even just as a person, I know that I'll be able to give even more value to others as well. So yeah, highly recommend. I can't say much else. Is as it is here. You know, anybody that thinks it's fake, no, it's not. I'm the person telling you like it's not fake. Like, let's just be honest. If you think it's fake, cool. You've not seen that before, and probably you're not happy that you're not being able to do what I was able to do. But it's not because of me. It's because I locked into someone that can help me. So just look for it. You'll find what you're looking for as long as you go and look for it. Yeah, you just have
Amazing.
to admit you want it. That's it.
Thank you, brother. Like
No worries.
I really feel your heart, when you say all these things, and it's really telling. I remember our date one of coaching actually,
Yeah.
and like we met, and then I had given you like some homework, some mission, homework exercise to do beforehand, right? And then first of all, I just loved how like in depth you
Yeah.
were with like
Yeah.
your answers and everything, and I was like, yeah, this guy's like on another level. It's like that really goes to show like your fire, your desire to really like level up. So like that's if anyone's watching and you have this desire, like you are the right person for this, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, I remember us meeting to person, and then I got you to. I hadn't really told you what was gonna happen on day one, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, Chin, this is what we're gonna do, right? First of all, okay, just go like say hi to a couple of women here and there, and then I got you to do I showed you my demo, like how to actually like
Yeah.
go up and say hi to a woman, and then this is how you do it, instant day, like all that stuff. And then you're like, you're like, Steven, I thought we are just gonna talk about our homework,
Yeah.
I remember that. And that actually is telling because like you didn't even know what we're actually gonna cover during uncoaching. And the reason why you said yes to this opportunity was because you just deep down wanted to learn something, like a level up. And then
Yeah.
I just diagnosed that, okay, like for me, I mean, when I look back on my personal development, the most foundational skill that actually really, really transformed my life was actually learning how to say hi to anyone, anytime,
Mm.
anywhere, and then creating these like deep, meaningful connections spontaneously. Really, right? Because it's like once you like learn how to do that, it's like you're, as you said, yeah, you're unstoppable. And then like I kind of like clocked that. Okay, we're gonna do a lot of the deep work together, but then this skill set, this is gonna be like the fundamental backbone, and then like a lot of the other stuff will follow. Suit. And then that's what really happened. So yeah, basically what Chin is talking about is really like, okay, it's not just about like learning how to cold approach, but there's a lot of other aspects that come along with it. I personally have done this like so many times, not only cold approaching per se, but like really helping to some extraordinary souls get to the next level of their transformation through different modes of modalities of coaching. Chin is like you're one of the most like qualified people like actually, like, when I speak to, like, my other clients about you, they're like, "Yeah, man, like, he's like a real engineer, like, how much does he even make per year?" Right? Not to disparage, like, your
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
whatever, they're like,
Yeah.
"They've invested, like he invested that much to work with you?" I'm like, "That just goes to show, like, how he really values himself, and that's why, like, you're where you're at right now, right?"
Yeah.
So, that's the vibe, brother. Yeah, any parting thoughts before we wrap up?
I'd say I've come to learn as a result of all of this and where I am today. Like, even if you don't have what you have now, I guess in this aspect, I thought, well, why is it? Is it because I don't know enough?
Mm,
Could it be that? Yes. Am I putting myself out there in the right positions? Yeah, am I? Could I do more? Yes. But I'd say I've found the more pure you are in here, it's going to be harder because of that. And I don't say harder in a negative connotation. I mean, in the sense that what you deserve as a result of how pure you are is going to be so specific to find. So eventually, when you do find it, it's going to mean so, so, so much more. So all I'd just say is like for anyone out there, it's like if you're struggling, what you're looking for is on the other side of that struggle. If it's a massive struggle, lock in and just chip away and do what you have to do in order to get it. What you're looking for is out there. I don't have it yet, but that's a belief you have to go with every day in order to get there. That's what I'll say.
Thank you so much for your bond. As always, if you're curious about Chin's like transformation, we made a video to prove that it's not fake.
Yes.
Number one, and number two, to tell you that it is possible. And that sometimes, yeah, these miracles happen when you're actually really, really there to create and shape your reality, and you
Mm.
can really manifest really whatever you want, like as long as you, number one, you gotta download the right way and you process it, then, you really take massive action exactly how you did it. So, super proud of you, brother, as always. And our work doesn't stop here. Let's talk more about like what that entails after this call, obviously, as we spoke about. And thank you again.
Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone watching. Yeah.
All right. Thank you to everyone watching as well.